Hello, Twitch and or YouTube. Today is another Josh got relatively less sleep and thus is kind of low energy stream. This is going to be a good time for all. Still sitting at my office, lights and shiz. Stream courtesy of Sleep Aid soft gels. Turns out your body gets dependent on them faster than you think. All right. Something's off with my screen. I don't know what's going on. Well, anyway. Welcome, everyone. I'm Josh Goldberg. I'm a full-time open source maintainer in the typescript-eslint ecosystem. Hey, my stream elements is back. That's nice. Looks like... There we go. That's what I was looking for. That's better. All right. Ugh. Weird screen shenanigans, but hey, Stream Elements is working again, so that's nice. Happy to see it. Today I'm going to be going through typescript-eslint's pull request review queue. Typescript-eslint is the tool that enables ESLint and Prettier to support TypeScript, which is kind of important, and I'm one of the maintainers on it. So going through the queue, I'm going to try to, there's my schedule. Try to remember this time to post things in the Twitch chat. Please let me know if I forget. Also, feel free to ask any questions, chat about things, whatever goes on, if you want to talk about things. Fun fact, today we're celebrating. I have 666 followers. Oh, nope. 600. Snaylaker, I appreciate you, but you were my 667th follower, which ruined the satanic number. Anyway, let's look at PRs. I'm going to filter to the ones that are from people and actionable right now. For that, I'm going to minus label dependencies. Get rid of those dependency updates. And I can take a look at them once I'm through the stuff that's not awaiting response, but minus label awaiting response, which brings us down to just 24 PRs. Oh, my pleasure. And I'm sorry for calling you out. I actually do appreciate you following me. Thank you. Side note, it just went back down to 666. So I guess my my rudeness is helpful. But no, yeah, I think open source is something that, or like practices working in open, is something that doesn't get taught a lot because it's kind of hard to teach this in a structured way. A lot of it's just very organic, kind of, oh yeah, going around. Well, I appreciate you both following and unfollowing. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions. Definitely let me know if anything I'm doing is unclear, if you want to learn more. Like this is important stuff. This is how a lot of software gets built, on GitHub in the open. And honestly, a lot of these skills are transferable to and from corporate work or like working for a team. I worked on teams for years before going open source, and that helped me understand how to, work with people you might not have context with. A lot of software engineering principles, whatever you call them. And then open source helped me understand things there too. And also, for example, GitHub queries minus a draft. Very useful once in a while. This is Herpaderpyderp's live stream. Attila, are you, what were we just talking about? Oh, I see your profile. Hello. Attila Facina, welcome. Thanks for coming up. Yeah, all my account names are, for the most part, Joshua K. Goldberg or something like that, except for the really old ones. I kind of regret calling it's my Reddit username. My Reddit username is Herpaderpyderp. That's not a good idea. Don't do that. Also, I messed up the query. It's minus is draft. There we go. Yeah. I made a Joshua K. Goldberg account on Reddit, but like Herpderp has all my old stuff on it. Anyway, 4 minutes in. Let's start. Tell how you doing today. Let's start reviewing these. Oh, almost forgot. Minus author Joshua K. Goldberg. No, don't worry. Snaylaker was kind enough to unfollow, so we're down to 666 again. And that's where we stay. I'm totally satisfied. I know there are a lot of people who are like in DevRel or trying to be an influencer, and like for them, like large numbers of followers and whatnot is important. For me, I'm just doing this for, I like doing it, and it's good to get the stuff in the open. So if I stay at 666, fine with me. But I should get to thank you, Cube. So thanks for the follow. All right, so plugin feature eslint plugin naming convention support auto accessor syntax. And for those who are new, I always post everything to Twitter and the other things just to show off what I'm doing. So for context, this is what Attila and I were talking about. By the way, shout out Attila. We met, how many times now? 2, 3? Do you use the @ in the shout outs? There we go. Yeah, Attila's a nice dude. Y'all should go follow him. He's a DevRel person at Two Things? Wait, you're at Two Things? Crab and Tori? How does that work? 2 times, that's right. Where did we meet? I know Timisoara. What was the first conference we met at? Where did we? I know it was Brussels, React Brussels. That's what it was. I remember this. We were hanging out in Brussels, the hotel lobby. That was awesome. Shout out, by the way, to both those conferences. Weaver.js was a fantastic conference, and React.Brussels, not BR. Great time. Both of them. All right, so yeah, back to this. First up, reviewing a PR, adding auto accessor support to the naming conventions rule. It's trickier than you'd think. Yeah, so the technical implementation of this, I remember being fine, but the actual design of the options for it are a little more convoluted. So for context, we have a rule naming convention, which I don't even want to have to maintain. Like, it's an annoying ass rule to maintain. And in fact, I set up a discussion on our GitHub suggesting that, hey, I would like to feature freeze this and a couple other rules. People use them and find use from them, like enforcing naming conventions. But for member ordering, naming convention, and sort type constituents, it's just sorting or naming. It's not something that you can get right for everyone. And people have a lot of wacky needs. So it's hard to maintain. It takes time away from the rules that actually find bugs. So there's no good community standard we can move to, but I think we could feature freeze them and tell people to go make one. That's my opinion. Someone, yell at me in the discussion if you think I'm wrong. So far, it's just been Brad and me talking with 1 or 2 thumbs ups. Brad's another maintainer. Anyway, so naming convention is one of our more ridiculous rules. It lets you specify naming options for all sorts of different things with all these different shenanigans in there. So you could say that all private member-like things, so properties and whatnot, have camel case with a leading underscore. Or you could say that all Boolean variables are prefixed with is, should, have, can, is, did, will, whatever. And then Pascal case for the rest of their name. That's allowed. Unfortunately, because this rule is so robust and it has options for everything, every time there's a new syntax feature, we need to add one to it. What happened here? So yeah, what first happened with the review, let me see. I remember reviewing this, here we go. I remember reviewing this back in one of the earlier iterations of it, where the change was, in addition to looking at any property that's not computed, where there is a getter or setter. So let me pop that open in the playground. Let's say you have a class example, and then you have value. You do get value. The rule would then look at this. It's a property that's actually, I think I can get where is it? So it's a class declaration that contains, here we go. This is technically a method definition. Interesting. Let's do read-only value equals 3. Is that what this is going to be? Yes. Yeah, so this is a property. There we go. Property definition. Interesting. He calls it property here, property definition here. Anyway, the AST gets... sometimes there are weird little discrepancies between what you think it would be and what it actually is. So I forget what this is, but let's do accessor value string. Just Temporal, hello, welcome. I seem to remember talking with you on the internet a few times. How's it going? Cool. So anyway, maybe it's the TypeScript node that they're looking at. Nope. What is the property node? Anyway, for those who are looking at this and going like, what the heck is properties and ASTs and all this? I do have a blog post. Ooh, I think I have a stream elements. There we go. Command for that. This blog post, which I just posted in the chat, helps explain that an AST is a representation of your source code, and it's actually basically JSON or JavaScript objects. So just pasting it out into VS Code. Let's open VS Code here. Code typescript-eslint. Now you can follow again. Yes. Or act like a jerk in my channel and cause 2 people to unfollow. 2 options. Yeah, I swear to... Jess, was it KCDC? I know we've interacted at some point. I remember like faces and snapshots, but I don't remember the context for them. So anyway, yeah, so I don't know what I'm doing here. Sorry, it's been a slow morning for me. Anyway, so I said, okay, well, at first this just changed naming convention TS and accessor test TS. But then Brad, the other maintainer, noted... well, so I said, hey, this should have docs added. Now there are docs added. But then Brad noted it's not a new modifier, it's a new selector entirely, so it'll need its own dot point listing of the allowed modifiers and types. Right, so I was wrong in my review. Brad was right. That they were previously adding it to the existing accessor selector, which is a little confusing because right now in the naming convention rule, there is the concept of an accessor modifier, which you could use to say, I want any node that looks like it has abstract, override, protected, public, and so on, to be given a certain naming convention. But Brad is saying that auto accessor is actually a new naming convention. So, yeah. Wrong to suggest in my earlier review to just go along with the existing accessor one. Pity about... I don't know if I was wrong. Disagree with my just earlier review suggestion of... Oop, that's 2 mice. I've been doing this bad habit of constantly typing something and realizing it's wrong only when I hit enter. 01 Pollux, hello. Welcome, thanks for coming on. How's it going? Also, my mouse has been acting up. Ugh. Yeah, so I see Brad's had review requested on this, so I don't have to worry about messing up too much. But yeah, so here's the actual change. So they, in addition to adding to keeping accessor as is, auto accessor hang on. I don't like reviewing this rule. This rule is a pain in the butt to maintain. Excuse me. So, hang on. Oh, this is, I'm just not gonna be able to do this unless I do a deep dive. So I'm gonna have to deep dive a bit. So let's open this locally. GHPR checkout 8084 get pull yarn start. It's an awful rule. Like, sure, yeah, truly, because it's so tricky. Like, look at this file. Naming convention at MD, 715 lines till we get to the when not to use it. Such a pain. and like hundreds of lines of explanation and examples and all these like who could possibly keep all this in their head other than Brad, the other maintainer, who somehow manages to. Yeah, so format options, selector options, here we go. So selector allows you to specify what type of identifiers to target. For example, if you say function variable, then it will apply a particular naming convention to functions and variables. Modifiers allows you to specify more granularly, like if you want to say all, hashtag private, whatevers, hashtag private methods or whatnot, or if it's static. So we have a list of individual selectors. So previously we had accessor, which is confusingly named the same as the new JavaScript feature, but it allows you to modify as to select any accessor. Immediately I can see that this is confusing. Docs. I'm getting confused reviewing this, and I'm a maintainer and have read the TC39 specs for much of these. So I can only imagine how mind-bogglingly confusing the difference between accessor, as the rule already calls things, and auto accessor, what's being added is, which is not your fault as the PR author, just a fact of how annoying this rule has gotten. I think this docs page will need some disclaimer, some notes explaining the nomenclature. People are going to get tripped up on the differences between the two and get mad at us for having such confusing names. Again, not your fault. Not this. Yeah, whatever. What do you think about explaining them briefly below this list? Briefly somewhere around this list. I'm not sure exactly where it should look, but I'll ask them. See what they think about it. I was just say, at the very least, I think we'd need a definition somewhere of what accessor means. We need definitions. And auto accessor each mean. Many developers won't know about the accessor syntax. TC39 accessor. By the way, is a really interesting proposal. If you ever TypeScript auto, it was in TypeScript 4.9 they added support for this JavaScript feature, but accessors, auto accessors and classes allow, it's like a shortcut for making a get and set, which actually is not very useful in most code, but does enable you to then later on in overrides of the class, or like class extensions, subclasses, do cool things to override, say, just the getter or just the setter, which enables other language features to work. Really interesting. Anyway, so yeah, we previously referred to accessors as in like any accessor modifier, like abstract or private. And then interestingly, static got lumped in there, even though that's like a behavioral thing. And requires quotes as like a naming thing. It's weird. Other. Remember, like variable, like type, like other. Style. Yeah, maybe this fee. So like we have I'm just guessing, or inferring, and then I based off memory. The way that naming convention works, naming convention utils enums ds. On the inside, there are a lot of different enums explaining that let you like specify what the requested, whatever, selectors, modifiers, blah, blah, blah are. And they use bit arithmetic to make fancy auto-generating unique bit values. So I think auto accessor, they're adding it under other as a separate category. This feels like it belongs in member. Like it's a variant of classes. It's used with classes. Thoughts? Not 100% behind that, but anyway. So they added a new enum for property for selectors. Close that. They added docs a little bit. They added, let's see, what's this file here? 302. So under the schema for the rule, each ESLint rule can define the options it takes in. This one lets you has auto generation for a whole bunch of different possible schemas, including auto accessor, which is with this selector schema, which takes in the string, what it allows, as in I don't even remember what allow type does, and then I think it's whether it allows types, like type your types. And then the modifiers it can take in. What does allow type? I don't even know. Anyway, so because Brad already reviewed here, and Brad knows more about this rule than me, I'm going to say this all looks good. They're expanding the types allowed, so like accessor properties, and a couple of functions, and then they're adding a new selector in the rules so that accessor properties style. So I see this is kind of like a C# programmer kind of way of doing things, like a Visual Studio orient, but like other tools will have this like region thing to let you collapse. Oh, and it does work in VS Code. Here we go. So hashtag region comments. Knit region accessor refers to the existing accessor stuff. This auto accessor property should be in a new region IMO. So I'm suggesting we give it its own region because it's its own selector. I don't know what this would be called. Maybe like auto accessor or something like that. That way we can collapse it on its own. Food for thought. And then they split out their own case for this, so that's good. Testing. The selector describes being able to take in private, etc., but this test only tests static modifiers, private, read only, etc. Is that missing? This missing test coverage? Cool. So this is one of the more boring things. I'm sorry for starting off with such an obnoxious rule. It's not the PR author's fault. It's this rule. But I think I'm through it. So TLDR, requested more docs, requested more tests, and then like a couple of style things. Progress. Thanks for working on it. I'll defer to Brad. But I think for final approval, but I think having more docs and matching tests coverage to the new feature would be good. Cool. Naming conventions. By the way, if any of you want to maintain a community fork of this, hit me up. Make my life easier. All right. Well, anyway, label waiting response. Great. We can move on to something else now. Yay. Great. Ooh, I see one of these already has one approval, so I'm just going to skip to that. I think I approved it. Thanks, Jess. Appreciate it. Yay. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to minus label one approval because I approved this one 3 days ago and then tagged someone else to look at it. So let's minus label one approval. So I only have 7 PRs yet left. Assuming that none of the ones that have been excluded by this query are things I should look at, which you never know. But okay. Let's look at this one. Ooh, this is a doozy of a title. Look at this. Very exciting. And once in a while this thing happens on Twitch where the stream manager just doesn't let you pin something. Who knows why? Alrighty. Done with that, thank heavens. Mouse is acting up. Done with naming convention for now. Thank heavens. What a cumbersome rule. No fault of the PRs. By the way, I've learned the hard way to always say if I'm complaining about something, be very specific that I'm complaining about the technical thing, not the people doing stuff. The rule just has a lot of surface area because people, if you say, oh, this sucks, people will assume it's about them. Like, that's a reasonable thing. So I want to be very clear and precise in my wording of like, the PR is fine. The fault is that it just has a lot of surface area it has to cover. Which is important delineation between what I'm saying and like, oh, this code sucks because it's open source. Like you can see who wrote the code. That's an insult even if they don't see it. So very important not to insult people when you're working on the internet, especially when you're working in the open. It's very difficult to get phrasing right. More people following you, the more you should pay attention to that. Should and have to, unfortunately. Such is life. Whoops. Man, this mouse is so annoying. You ever get one of those days where just technology isn't working? I woke up barely, and now my mouse is being a pooper scooper. I'm like cleaning behind the mouse area, behind the scenes. All right. Anyway, drink water, everyone, or coffee if it's your thing. Let's look at this pull request, and my mouse is still being shitty. I swear to God, one of these days, bang boom straight to the moon with this thing. Disallow non-venables to promise aggregators. All right, backing issue. Honestly, I wish I could avoid technology for a good 3 hours. That sounds great. Ugh. This is fun fact. This issue's been open since 2020. I swear to God, I can't fucking work in these conditions. One of my cats did something to the mouse. I don't know what. Now it's all blungent. Okay, that's better. Whee! As much as I hate the Mac UI, I do like how the mouse gets big when you spin it around trying to find it. It's nice. All right. Warn against passing non-prompts. This is a new rule proposal that's been open since 2020. It's only got 5 upvotes, but it does sound useful. All right, so skimming the conversation, here's what they want to happen. They want it to be so that if you pass something... Oh, where'd my playground go? If you pass something... let's just put this in an async function, whatever. Pass something that's not a promise to a promise aggregator, such as promise.all, or promise.all settled, promise.race. I think those are the built-in ones. Something should yell at you. None of our lint rules will do that because promise.all is declared as taking in a generic thing. Whoa. Promise.all takes an unknown. So you can pass in like a string or a function that creates string. And then that's totally fine. Here, TypeScript infers, okay, your main returns a tuple with string and function that returns string. But what you probably meant to do was like, I don't know, create value, turn it async or something. Or like not use promise at all because it's unnecessary. So this is a good rule idea, and I'm glad we're tackling it. So this person, who I forgot to check if they're on Twitter to give them credit. Oh, good thing they're not. Haha. Sent a PR with this rule. So this actually might take a while to review. So that's fun. GHPR, check out 8094. Git pull. Yarn start. So just confirming Venable and Promise aggregators. I guess that's the right term. It's got a long name. See if I can find a better, or like a shorter one. Adds a new rule, Venable and Promise aggregators, which verifies that array arguments of promise all, settled, and race are all Venable. They talk about naming, justification. Not super important to me personally, but nice. Avrod, who is not a maintainer, just a community member who likes reviewing and doing things, gave some apparently helpful feedback. Typos. Yep, this is correct. So originally they'd had this under the recommended rules set. Updating from recommended to strict. Yep, that's right. Yes, so we cannot add new rules to our recommended rule set because that'd be a breaking change. But the strict rule set is explicitly marked as, we'll add to it. What do you care? Const foo equals promise foo dot all. Yeah. So here's a fun little trick. Name equal promise. Where is this coming up? Oh, line 44. Yeah. So it looks like the code got updated. I'm trying to look at the code as it was at that time. That's annoying. Well, anyway, looking at the code here, it looks like they were checking, okay, in the filter for should I complain of this node, they were checking, is the node callee's object name not promise? So like, are you calling something other than promise.all? If so, return. But then Alfred makes a good point of like, people will sometimes, for some reason, alias globals like const foo equals promise, and then calling foo.all means, well, the callee, the thing that's being called, its object, so in the method, the thing on the left, no longer promise. So yeah, so fortunately another PR, I believe authored by Alfred. Let me check. Yep, Alfred's PR added another Venable promise area thing. So that adds some utilities that are helpful. Declare const array promise of string. Yep, so Alfred noted that they were previously checking if something's an array type, but like tuples will also need to be checked. Yep. All right, so I'm pretty pleased with Alfred's comments in there. Don't think I need to go through all of them. I'm just going to go through the rule on my own now. So Venable in, by the way, quiz question for the chat. I'm going to put you all on the spot. Totally fine if you all want to lurk. That's okay. Even if you've been acting very nice, thank you for chatting. For example, Jess and Snaiglicker and Attila. But what is the difference between a Venable and a promise? Are you able to answer that without looking it up in JavaScript? Also, why is this giving me crap? There's something weird with my ESLint server. Yarn build, yarn start. Okay, now it's working fine. Anyway, I'm going to go through this rule line by line to review it now. So the way that you create a rule in typescript-eslint is you use our nice little rule creator, get out of here, localhost, which is actually documented. Fun fact, rule creator in our custom rules docs. Let me actually get up the prod version of that, link it in the chat. Building custom rules. So if any of you want to build a custom ESLint rule that's type informed or can work on TypeScript code, that's us. So we expose this rule creator function that you can use to create a create rule function. So like currying, whatever. Then create rule all you need to do for this create rule function is specify how to get the docs page for the rule. We do have a one that doesn't meet that, like without docs function if you really need. Anyway, we've got a name, we've got the metadata, we've got default options, and we've got the create. Metadata says disallow passing non-venable values to promise aggregators. No one knows what a venable is. Recommend strict. Yep. And you have to say it requires type checking so that we know in our metadata parser stuff whether to put this in the regular configs or type checked or whatnot. ESLint rules, you can declare messages like the complaints the rule may give, the reports. Unexpected non-venable, expected way of non-venable values passed to promise aggregator. I'm wondering if we should uppercase promise. I'm going to look for promise in all markdown MDX files. Case and word sensitive. I don't need typescript-eslint anything. I see we're not consistent about referring to it as uppercase p promise or lowercase p promise. Anyway, fun fact about JavaScript, the difference between a promise and a venable is a promise is a built-in object class, capital P promise, that allows you to represent something that may eventually resolve or reject. Venable is the term for anything with a .then method. So a promise is the most common by far example of a venable, but a venable is just a general term that you can use to refer to your own implementation of promises, other promise libraries, things that just happen to have a then. Fun fact. So yeah, I'm seeing here that we're not consistent about... You Love Me on the Goldbergs. I've never seen the show. I've heard it's good. Does it have someone famous in it? Goldbergs. Oh my god, they're on season 10. Oh yeah, Jeff Garlin. He's famous. Oh, Patton Oswalt. I love Patton Oswalt. Okay. Anyway. Thanks, Dax. Appreciate your input. Love Patton. His stand-up is phenomenal. His airport bit. Your wife. What are we working on? Great question. Let me post it again to the chat. So someone is finally implementing a rule proposal that's been sitting in our repo for like 3 years. Then... Oh my god, look at all these comments. So yeah, the proposal is catch people if they accidentally if they await promise, if they call promised at all, for example, or similar methods, or like all settled with something that's not actually async, and like none of these things are promises, or more generally venables, then like there's no actual reason to call promised at all. So we want a lint rule to complain on that. Let me know if that makes sense. Also, what are you up to, Dax Pseudo? What are you working on? Cool. So I see there's a lot of discussion in this PR, a lot of resolved comments. Hovred's been posting a lot of good feedback. Thanks, Hovred. Oh, I accidentally pinned a message. Love Patton. Oops. Well, that's good. I'm glad you love Patton. TS emoji. A very funny NPM package for TS. Impeccable. What is what is this? This readme is crafted. But I'm finding it hard to read through on stream. TypeScript preprocessors are destined to intertwine the charm of emojis with this. I love emojis. So that's nice. Wait, are you serious? You just can you? Is there like an online playground or something? I don't want to have to install things. But oh my god, wait. So you preprocess? That's so funny. Oh my god, I love this. That's such a good idea. Oh, pardon. Didn't get a lot of sleep. Also, hands are dry. Using this like 3-year-old Trader Joe's spa lotion. Yeah, no, I'm a file this away as a. What I'd love to do is share this online, but if you want it to go viral, you got to have like a one-click example. Emojis.json. That's so funny. Wait, what are all these? I didn't know people use other ones. TS skip. Is that like a thing? People use these? TS deprecated? Very cool. Yeah, let me actually add a bookmark for this so I don't forget it. Boop. Look at all my crap that I have to do. Love it. Thanks. That made my day. So, yeah. Sorry. Getting back to these things. Tell Jason I blame them fully. So, Happy New Year. We're based on the current state of the main branch. Josh Cena, who questioned, should this be its own rule versus an option? Ideal case included when enabling strict type, and then it can be recommended on the next major version. If we added on configuration to await vendable, it would need to default off. I think it makes sense to have this as a standalone separate rule. Where's the rule file itself? There we go. Continuing the discussion of whether this should be a separate rule. I think it makes sense as its own rule. Await venable right now specifically targets awaiting something. So adding promise aggregators in there would be a non-trivial expansion of the rule's scope. And the rule's name would no longer really be precise, which MO is a good indication of something that maybe should be a separate rule. Plus, it's nice to finally have another rule that refers to venables. Yeah, so this is a long-standing discussion in the back of my mind, at least. And I would love any feedback from y'all if you have thoughts on this. So so to recap, in JavaScript, there's the concept of a venable, something with a .then, most often implemented by promise. You can think of venable as an interface, promise as the class. I'm going to switch from triage to discussion. It's status. Not really triage, just documentation. So we have this weird thing where some of our rules refer to venables, and actually just one await venable, and others refer to promises. And there's no good answer here that we've come to. Like, no floating promises just checks promises. But then await venable also checks that you await venables. And right now we're doing the precise thing of referring to the stuff that the rule actually works on. But it's confusing because no one knows what a venable is. Why would a human remember that if they don't work on a linter or language? So if y'all have opinions on this, I'd love to hear them. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I try. It's the goal of the stream. One of. I like explaining stuff on stream. I think it's helpful for people who are interested in open source, linting, whatever. Also, this is just good practice for me. Part of my job is DevRel, explaining stuff to people, making sure our docs are good, my explanations are good. Cool. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Dax. I appreciate it. A gay engineer without an opinion, it's never happened before. I cannot speak to whether gay engineers have opinions, more or less than other engineers, because every engineer I've worked with has had uppercase O opinions. Good to know. It's funny, I was raised Jewish, and so we had a running joke, in the community of, 3 Jews, 5 opinions. I think a lot of communities have jokes or phrases similar to or exactly that about themselves. All right. Yeah, you can use that if you want. It's not mine. It's like an old thing. Let's talk religious and other groups humor. Yeah. No. Anyway, Docs. Amusingly, we don't have a... Interestingly. Tell me more about this problem in your opinion. Yeah. Great idea. Actually, one... I think how does it make you feel is such an underrated statement. More people should go to therapy. Like, the things that therapists do are fantastic. How does it make you feel? Wait, I have to touch my emotions, tap into them? Interestingly, we don't have a standard for whether we refer to promises with an uppercase P or lowercase p. Outside the scope of this PR, maybe it'd be a good follow-up to standardize file and issue about standardizing this in docs. Not a blocker or request for changes, just ruminating. By the way, this is something that I've learned the hard way. If I'm just wondering about something and just filing it as like, oh, maybe you should do something later, I should be very specific about that, because if I'm not, people will think that I'm asking them to change something and being unclear about the suggested change, which is really rude, like of me to allow. So don't want to be rude. I should be. A lot of things in online discourse are made better or less worse if you are much more accurate and precise. Not just accurate, but precise. Otherwise, yes, you get crucified in the comments. That's a hell that I do not want. Anyway, looking through the code, let's see. Takes no options. So default options is blank. So here's how an ESLint rule works. In its create method, it returns an object. Let's collapse this. That object has key and some values. The keys are queries for your AST, abstract syntax tree. So this could be written like this, but the way they have it written out now is basically a shorthand for what they had for this. And the values are functions that take in a node of that type. So call expression key, function that takes a node that is type, call expression. Where call expression is calling something. So if the callee is not a member expression, ignoring chains, so like question mark or dot or whatever. Yeah, if it's a chain expression, what's a chain expression? I'm pretty sure I know what a chain expression is. But if I look at this, God dang it, what's a chain expression? Pretty sure it's a question mark dot. Yeah, it's an optional chain expression. There we go. There we go. It's a question mark dot. So skipping question mark dot. Here, I'm going to keep the metadata on the left and the actual rule implementation on the right. Skipping the optional chain expressions, make sure that it's a member. If it's computed and yeah, one of the things that you get from working on like a language or a linter or tooling around those things is an appreciation and ability to be very specific. Nullish coalescing is question mark. Optional chain expressions are question mark dot. Yeah. So if it's a computed callee, if it's like promise array string literal all or something like that, then make sure that it's in aggregate function names. This is actually a need that comes up a lot. So I'm going to say, this is what, line 100 or so. This refactor. This get the name if it's computed or static. One way if it's computed or another if it's static. Need comes up a lot in rules. We should have a shared utility for it. And then I think it's get static value is the thing. Yeah, get static string value maybe. Get static string value should do the trick. Get static. I think we also have a get static value somewhere. Yeah, we have a get static value. Or its static value. One of those. Yeah, so big part of open source is people coming in have no context on your code base potentially, so random little tips and tricks, things that actually come up a lot, you may know them only from experience in the code base. All right, so so basically this is checking to make sure that one of the aggregate function names includes the thing that we're looking for. I would also say stop nitpicking, just nitpicking, but have you considered, or about what do you think about making this set and or moving it outside of the rules create? There's no need to remake it every time. Yeah, docs are great for that. The bigger the project, the harder it gets, but then also the more commonly you have like random standards and things. So it's nice to have docs. +1 to you. And semantically, set is really more of what this is being used for. There's an ESLint unicorn rule prefer set, I think. Yeah, prefer set has, which is pretty good. Love Devrel. And I think this is just being used as like prefer set has. Yeah, it's only ever being used for include. So honestly, we actually we have an issue somewhere about enabling the unicorn rules. I think I filed it. Or looking into enabling the unicorn rules on our code base. No? Unicorn? File issues for any ESLint plugin unicorn rules you should take into core. And none of them ended up being there. Okay, well, anyway, never mind. If someone thinks it's a useful rule that we should include in typescript-eslint, file an issue on us. Anyway, so here's what is known at this point. At this point, assuming we haven't returned, if we're hitting line 113, we know that it's a call expression. We're calling to like we're calling to a method that has one of the names we care about, all race, all settled, any. Now we need to make sure that we're calling that method on promise, not like some random other class that just happens to have all settled or some random other object or whatever. All right, so if it is, so we look at it, either it's a promise constructor-like or a promise-like. Oh. Dax, I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Your positivity is noted and respected and appreciated. Being able to make someone feel like a noob in a good way is, well, that's hard. So I appreciate you. I think that it's lovely being able to learn, but we get the appreciation for learning beaten out of us by, metaphorically beaten out of us by bad schooling and bad teachers and just the difficulty of teaching. So thank you. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, so now we want to make sure that if you're calling whatever, something.all, that something is promise. And I'll note that calling to the type information APIs, like get type at location, is the most expensive part, performance-wise, of many of our rules. So basically all the type check rules. Because asking for type information is hard. It has to potentially evaluate a whole bunch of different files in TypeScript land. So basically anything that calls to type information should happen last. For example, I see here that we check how many arguments there are after that, but we could move it before. Oh boy, Devrel content binge. How is that going? Any particularly good or bad pieces of content for Devrels out there? Where was I looking? Args equals node dot arguments. Performance. Yeah, you like. Yeah. Generally, asking for type information is the most performance expensive part of rules. So if there's any work, bail early if something is in some case. Yeah, just any early if check that can happen first. Not type informed. That's better. Let's move this check above the services to before the services dot get type at location call. I don't know how clear that is, but I think it's pretty apparent what I'm talking about. So I'm not too worried. Old school Theo vibes of building stuff. Does old school Theo significantly differ from new school or current Theo? I haven't been keeping up with Theo's vibes. I hope this is a good comparison for me. I don't know. Never really watched a lot of other streamers' content. Full YouTuber, that's fun. He does do those thumbnails things, though. The facial reactions. All right. Okay, so now that we know that what we're calling to is actually promise. By the way, to do for Josh are both needed. I remember vaguely seeing a comment that suggested one or both of these. Maybe I forget, but like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually I can just do that right now. Whoa, isn't Theo, by the way, also a CEO? How's Ping doing? I haven't checked in on that company in a while. CD packages, ESLint plugin, Yarn, Jest, Venable in Promise aggregators. Watch. So yeah, this is like a nice code coverage checking tip. If you're not sure whether something is needed in a code base with high code coverage. Oh, good. Glad Ping is doing well. Just comment out aloud and see if all your tests still pass. And okay, I see that at least one test fails. Where, oh wait, promised all Baz, whatever. Talking about subclasses. Okay, so is promise constructor like is definitely needed. What about is promise like? I see that, oh, that's so interesting. I didn't realize this was even doable. I learned something today. Here, let me go to the TypeScript playground. I like how the TypeScript playground has 2/ assertions. I gotta switch my target, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Await still complaining? Yeah, it's class, whatever. All right, so I didn't know you could do class. Oh, wait, no, duh. Class extends promise, so all the static members of promise also exist on foo. Okay, so that's fine. So we're checking if it's the promise constructor like, or is promise like, which says if it's a built-in symbol like, is built-in symbol like recursor. Oh boy, so this is interesting to me. These methods is promise constructor like and is error like. So these call to is built-in symbol like, which takes in a program, a type, and a symbol name. And then it does this recursive function that goes through all the possible types and calls a predicate on them to return Boolean or null. If the result is Boolean, it returns the result. Otherwise, it does more things. Calling with the predicate. Basically, it just recursively goes through all the possible types and checks if there's something. Which means that this calls the same thing twice. So we're going to potentially recurse through all the possible types of these things twice. First checking if they're promise constructor, then checking if they're promise. Performance opportunity there. Performance. On the inside, both of these two is like functions. Call to is directly call to, which calls to a recursive, directly calls to, which is a recursive function that looks through all the node's types. So in the case of neither of these functions hitting anything, finding what they're looking for, they'll go through go through those steps twice. Proposal. Actually, let me check. Does this get used in code in the same unfortunate way for promise? Oh. So I see this is the same code basically as this is also roughly the same code as this thing from prefer, promise, reject, errors. Which proposal. My proposal, proposal. I don't want to phrase it as a proposal because then they're going to think that I'm asking them to do it. And this one, even if I explicitly it's not. I think a good follow-up, cleanup, refactor. I'm nitpicky. Let's alphabetize those. Be to extract would be to write a version of is, oh god, what is it called again on the inside? Is built-in symbol like. Would be to augment is built-in symbol like to take in an array of or a set of names that it checks for. That way we can do all that recursive stuff once rather than twice. One for each what are we calling this string argument? One for each symbol name. This is existing code that I missed in a previous excuse me. Whew. Review. So not a blocker at all. Fine to follow up to file as an issue. Yep. So it doesn't have to be perfect in the first iteration, especially for performance things like little nitpicky improvements. What I'm saying is true. Like it will. This is extra stuff that's being done, but honestly, most types are not super complex. Like this recursor thing, going back through the types, it's not going to add too much performance cost. And type check linting is slow anyway. So anyway. So continuing through the code, we're looking at all the arguments. If it's an array expression, so we're saying if the argument is an array expression, then we look at each of the elements and ignore it. Okay, so if we're like calling like promise.all array, we ignore, that's fine. If the element is null, we report non-nullable value. I think that's like if you do like a comma in the array. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, fun fact, you can just have slots or empty spaces in arrays. That's fine. If we look at the ES tree here, stuff or B, let's do like A, empty slot. So if we look at the elements in here, 0 is, yep, null represents an empty slot in the array. So A, comma, B, like in here, there's nothing. Totally fine. You should never do this. Basically never do this. Such is life. People do it anyway. All right, so If the element is null, I don't love using the same in array. Yeah, I don't love using the same complaint for null. Bug. I don't love using, oh, let me put that on this line actually. The same general in array message for the case of a slot element. What is this called even? Array for an array slot element? Is that what we call that? Array of an empty array element slash slot. Most of the time when there's an extra comma, it's because the user has accidentally typed one, not intentionally. I think this deserves its own special case error message. Do you think? It's not really bug, more of a design question. By the way, even when I'm pretty sure I'm right, I still like asking the author questions because it encourages them to discuss with me. I might, even if I think I'm right, I might not be. So it's good to, explicitly say like, hey, what do you think? Like indicate to people like, this is not me telling you, this is a review, this is a discussion. Gotta encourage that. I'm also noticing here that, they're using in array if the type so they're saying if the type of any of the elements is not a promise, then you complain. But that's a little annoying because you might do something like promised all, like some async function other thing. So I'm wondering, like, is there a use case for adding an option to let people put in an array where only some of the elements are variables, or and not all of them are. I'm wondering. I'm not sure, honestly. Input requested, like I'm trying to think of like why one would want this, and I can't think I can't think of it. I can't think of why one would want this. But I'll ask. Oh, you know what? There was a lot of discussion. So let me see if there's anything mentioning an array. Oh, they asked questions 3 weeks ago. Should get to answering those. I really respect and appreciate, by the way, this person asked a lot of really good questions, and I like it when people do that. I like it when they, interact with us, not just like send some code and then expect something to happen. Like that is a valid way of working, but it's nice to make it more of a discussion. So I'm just scanning through, like, has anyone talked about whether you should add an option for allowing things? Is that okay? Here we go. Maybe we should add test case for unions. Union problems with some whereabouts has happened. It's intentional. Yeah. So on click might return function, or it might be a function that returns promise or undefined. Yeah. Yeah, I think the pattern. Yeah, I think unions should be allowed. It's a nice convenience and user and intentionally part of the promise aggregator designed to allow this. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone mentioned this. Yeah, technically null is not identifiable, they mentioned. Yeah, I'm gonna mention this for an array. Has anybody, by the way, sorry if I missed this in previous discussion. I looked through and is there a, I couldn't find any. Is there a use case for allowing, adding an option to allow users to provide an array tuple where only some of the elements are venables, like promise.all something call async thing, other call async thing. I can't think of one. So maybe this is a non-actionable comment. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so if the element type is any or unknown, we continue. Otherwise, we use the nice little tsutils. Utility is venable type. If it is, we continue. Otherwise, since it was not any and not unknown, should we allow any and unknown? Let's search through the conversation there. Nope. Yeah, I'm wondering for question. There we go. Is there a reason to allow unknowns? I would have thought that they should be warned on, since they're not guaranteed to be a promise. I mean, that's the rule. I basically looked at the whole rule. So if you pass it an array expression, then it checks the array expression. Otherwise, we look at the type of it. Then we call this method is indexable with some elements like, I haven't seen this before, where the third time we check this as any type. I see there was discussion about it. Type arguments. Okay, so this is basically looking through all the intersection union constituents, checking if it's an array or tuple type, and then getting the index of type. I wonder how often we do that. Checker.get index type of type. Never. We have never done that before. Fun. Great. All right. This rule makes sense. Ooh, first time chat. Hello, Nana Gigaposos. Is that Greek? I have an external API that I call for my service function. Should I set arguments for this API as default, like page equals one language again? If external API already sets it. Ooh, good question. It's not super important, or not. It is. I don't want to say not super. It's not super important that you get this exactly right. It's okay if you like do something and later on realize, no, I'd rather it's be the other way. So like it's fine to play around with this. I would think naively, not knowing your code or existing styles, that it's good to set defaults in one place only. But if both places might be called by someone who doesn't want to provide defaults, maybe in both, if you could like share like a defaults thing somewhere. But yeah, I need a little more information in your code to make an informed decision. What's up? What's going on? Thanks for asking. Anyone else have any things to talk or ask about? Please let me know. Always happy to answer these things. Happy to chat. But cool. So Yeah, so this code looks good so far. I will say though, I want to make sure there's a test case. What happens if someone does like const values equals this and then calls promise all values? Like I would hope that we know the type of this. I guess that's what this next check is. It looks at the indexable with some elements like, yeah. Another first timer. Hello. What open source project is this? Great question. Thanks for asking. This is typescript-eslint, the tooling that lets you run prettier and ESLint on TypeScript code. And I'm reviewing pull request 8094. It's pinned in the chat, but just for convenience. I'm realizing this month that like pinning in the chat doesn't actually surface it for a lot of people. I'm reviewing a PR to add a lint rule that will let you know if you use promise aggregator like promise.all and something that doesn't actually need to be promise.all, something that's not a venable. You've used us, yay! How's that going for you? How was that experience? Let me know how bad or good it was. So yeah, this rule looks good. So I want to make sure there's a test case. Oh yeah, they look at all these tests. By the way, if you've never looked at the implementation of this type of stuff, we have a blog post to help out. So they have a lot of good tests I see here. So first we have the valid cases, promise to erase, promise to resolve, great. This is fun. So whenever someone has a test case to make sure that a computed name like promise all works, I then want to make sure, do they have double quotes all? Do they have like backticks? And they don't. So I'm gonna complain about that in the PR. Promise all. Where's the? I love it how GitHub is like, oh, you have too many tests. We're not expanding that by default. So testing some additional valid cases to put in. Promise all. Because yeah, people do wacky stuff. Const key equals all, promise all. These are all valid things people do in JavaScript. Continuing through the cases, we have promise erase. We have a good. Oh, we have any. We have unknown. Great. I think never. Testing general cases. I haven't thought of too much. I'm not sure what I want keys, but like, what happens if someone passes in a never value to promise.all? General cases to also test never. I think this should report an error similar to unknown. So they're testing with unions of read-onlys, non-read-onlys somewhere. Yep, here we go. Tuples. Yep. All right, great. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, honestly, people think that, or sometimes people phrase linting as like an advanced thing or like for high level experience stuff. But no, linting is fantastic also for new devs. Like it's a really good form of teaching if done well. If not done well, or not so much. But yeah, like explaining like, oh, this is a new language feature you can use. Like explaining that you can do like, instead of const x equals x plus 1, you can do like, or rather you can do like x plus equals 1, or instead of x equals x or 1, you can do like x or equal 1. Or same thing with knowledge coalescing. Like these are all things lints and rules can enforce. Love it. Especially framework specific ones. 100%. Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of dynamic shenanigans, number or string. Great. Yeah, these tests are looking great, honestly. This is good stuff. And because they added it to the strict config, even though it's not, even though it's not in the recommended config, it isn't strict. I'll just mark these files as viewed. It does get run on our code base. So theoretically, if I do like awaits here, if I do like export async function example, if I do like await promise.all hello, promise, this should give a lint complaint. Yep. Yes. So it does complain as it should. So I'm going to say, I'm trying to think now, like what other complaints can I think of? Like what other things should be tested for in this rule? I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, silly guys. Yeah, honestly, if I'm struggling to think here, if anyone has any suggestions, that'd be great. But like, what else should we test for? Like, I can't think of anything. Promise of all. We're testing for subclasses and all this. Is there anything that's like got a manual then in it? Yep, class thenable, incorrect thenable. Cool. Yeah. No, I'm pleased with this. Yeah, so I should say that part of why I can't think of anything else, I think, is because Avred, community contributor, has done a really good job of reviewing already. So great. Thanks, Avred. I had resolved. Oh, boy. I have one of these Loretta bookmarks. Just automate clicking hide resolved. I actually have a bookmark for clicking all show resolved, but one of these days. Anyway, a little bug in the Chrome find feature doesn't update. Okay, great. So they had some last questions. Where was it? Then I can move on. Hopefully, the first two pull requests I reviewed on stream today were annoying. One was on an annoying rule. So the annoyance was that I just don't like dealing with naming conventions. No fault of the PR. And the other one, again, no fault of the PR author, is just that this is a complex thing, so it's taken like an hour to review it. So that's nice. Okay, so they had, I swear to God, I saw this. Okay, this uses the same logic as this thing for skipping chain expressions. So yeah, I'm gonna answer these questions in comments. Little pet peeve of mine. I like making threads because you can't thread in the root level discussions. So what they were saying, the same logic as skipping chain expression. Discussion. Moving. Splitting from this. Same logic as whatever for skipping chain expressions. I think it's fine as a follow-up issue. Always good. Factor issue. Always good. Always beneficial to have good first issues waiting for new contributors. Yeah, this is like a general open source tip. If you can make sure that at all times there are many, or at least several good first issues, like labeled good first issues, that helps people on board to your project, get new contributors there. It's good advertising. Is symbol from default library. Also, +1 for asking. I love it when people say what they're not sure on. Really nice. Is symbol from... Where is symbol from default library? Is that used in this? It's what I had talked about with reusing, or like making this take in multiples. Oh no, is built-in symbol. Right. Is built-in symbol like... Okay, I'm glad they already did that. So they did this. This is great. Okay, so I think they resolved this. Lovely. So nothing else. Yeah. I'm so glad you pointed those out. Thanks, guys. Yeah. No, this is a trick that I was very politely told I should do, because back in the day, I agree with this feedback I received that I tend to write very like detailed reviews with I think a lot in my reviews. Like I really want to do a good job, and then it comes across as like wall of text. So it's good to explicitly delineate like this is a side thought, this is actual requests. Like so it's not just oh my god a million requests that you have to read through to figure out which ones are actual requests. This is looking great. I think Fred reviewing earlier has made my job a lot easier. Thanks. Thanks for working so much on this rule. For that too. I think all the pending conversation. I think I responded to all the pending work, but I'm not sure. There was a lot to go through. If there's anything I missed, please do start a new comment thread in a file and I'll take a look. Ooh, great question. How does one get an open source project like this? Great question. One of these days I'll get to my to-do list item of writing a blog post. I say ramp up slowly over time is my advice. I started with really small things. In fact, if we go to github.com/pulls from me, I think there's a way you can, you can just search pull requests. And then if you go to sort oldest and remove the is open and archived false queries, you can see my oldest pull requests, which is, I think, kind of cool. They're small. Oh, and if we look at -org Joshua K. Goldberg, I think to remove like my own work, it's all small stuff. Like my first pull request was like a really small thing to some old library that's just like added a check to fix a bug. Like I started small. Here, let's -org full screen shenanigans. And then the like first project that I really started contributing to that like is, I don't know, not one of the things I was working on for school or with classmates, was typescript-eslint. So like, yeah, typescript-eslint was the big one. Add a Visual Studio to README support list. Add MS-Build to list of integrations. Just like Doc's little fixes. And then I added like a new feature to it. And then I like started doing more and more. Like I try to generally learn only one thing at a time and do that thing well. It's like first I was learning how to code, then how to make a GitHub repo, then contribute to someone else's, then this specific repo. I hope that answers the question. Eventually I'll have like a better blog post explainer. But these days it's a lot easier. Like there are things like goodfirstissue.dev, sites like this that can help you find places that have good first issues, which means that they care enough about the contributing experience to look out for that, which is always a good sign. Cool. Yay, I'm glad. All right, so requesting... Oh, yeah, I gotta review that. Promise. Okay, let me just make sure promise of dynamic key isn't already tested for... Yep, it's not. Requesting changes on some performance nitpicks and on some more testing and on what else have I tested? And on, I swear to God, I knew there was something else. Oh yeah, reusing a shared utility for a static key value. Everything else, the other points aren't blocking IMO. As long as we can file them as follow-up issues. Is the GIF for... I uninstalled the extension. There was an extension I used that it broke with a GitHub web update to get like nice strings there. So, progress. I want to see if I can get a good GIF. Oh my God. Oh, look at this ridiculous dance. Dance reaction. Blue, blue cartoon-ish character with a gray triangle hat dancing awkwardly on top of what looks like a potato with a smiley face. On top of a yellow blanket saying, "You're doing great." On top. Great. Good cheer. I've had people explicitly say privately that good cheer and such are actually really helpful for them, which makes me happy. So I think it's a good idea. Be the change, you know, like make the environment you want to work in, because, or that you think people will want to work in, and that you think you want to work in. You know, if you want to work in a basement and never talk to anyone, well, then maybe don't make that environment for other people. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's finally, for the love of... Oh, yeah, I forgot to add a label. I always add labels so people know what the heck's going on. Finally, for the love of God, I can get to another pull request. And I now have a new one filed. So, great. I'm going to have more pull requests open by the end of this stream than at the start. Whew. Moving on. Moving on over an hour later. Where's my joy reaction? Sometimes PRs take a while. All right, looking at a feature ad for someone who is nothing, who doesn't have a Twitter link either. Okay. This next one should be a bit quicker, I hope. It's a feature ad to an existing rule. What is it? Detect... Cool. I once sent a pull request to TypeScript that took years to merge because it was so darn tricky. All right, let's look at 8143. What is happening? They describe it as a feature, but the issue linked to it is described by them as a bug. They sent the issue 2 weeks ago and sent the PR 2 weeks ago. Okay, Brad and such discuss. All right. Does not detect the necessary non-null assertion on a call expression. So it's complaining that when you declare function foo, let's say, like when you call a function and assert its result, it's not currently giving complaint. By the way, pro tip, go to the rule docs page on ESLint or typescript-eslint. There will be links to try the rule in their respective playground. All right, so that is weird. I think it's a bug in the rule that the assertion, the exclamation mark isn't checked there. So like foo equals foo as number. So like it should check just when it's a call expression. It's not. So this is a bug that the rule that's letting you know, hey, you don't need to non-null assert with the exclamation mark. That rule is broken. People are saying there's a separate discussion about the formatting, which we don't care about. Brad's saying this is not correct. Someone says this is most likely a bug. When a certain colony, you should check the colony. No, you should check the return type of the colony. Right. But it is a bug. So this PR should fix the bug. Just curious, did they send the PR? Yeah, they sent the PR after the discussion. Good on them. Let's look at these changes. PR checkout, whatever. Get pull yarn start. All right. So just looking at because this is a fix, I'll look at the test cases first. So they don't change any of the existing cases, which means the rule still works the same way it did before. Oh, interesting. Now there's a new complaint in no unnecessary condition TS. Very nice. On line 439. Previously, we were looking at no.arguments 0, which was a TS tree.call. So this is a bug fix. Yeah, 4 years ago, this might have been valid, but types changed over time. And this exclamation mark is being detected as no longer necessary. So that's awesome. This thing found a little bit of dead code. That exclamation mark. All right, so let's start the tester on no unnecessary type assertion, whatever. Very good. And I'm going to restart my ESLint server to bring in the changes. Must prune. Yeah. Fun fact, the tool for doing that I used to use was called TS prune, but it's, I think, deprecated now in favor of knip, which is really nice. Really nice tool. Knip. Knip it before you ship it. Anyway, yeah, look at this. This is great. So I can't clean up. I can't comment on an unchanged file, but it looks like this bug fix found an unnecessary assertion in no necessary condition. Great. We ensure that lint rules pass on our current code base as a form of testing. So that'll need to be fixed as part of this PR. So what are they actually doing here? They're changing the fixer, which I'm guessing they're doing because new test cases necessitate. I'll file it to you for me to look at that. What's the file? Whatever, I'll just look for the message ID. There we go, line 189 or so, 183. There we go. So to do Josh, try a revert. So just to see if that's necessary. Anyway, the actual real juice of the change is 2 places. Okay, so yeah, 2 remove ranges, but really it's in this code, if it's not a nullable type and it's possible to use before assigned, we return. Okay, that makes sense. So previously we were saying if we see that the type is non-nullable, then we complain. But we don't complain if it's something that might have been used before it's assigned, like a variable. But now we're also saying only allow that exemption for identifiers, so things that are variables. That makes sense to me. I'm wondering if object properties would care about this. I don't think so, because variables go through assignment shenanigans differently from object properties. Okay, so this makes me happy. This looks good as a change. And then we have identifiers. We have new dates, outputs, parentheses. Ooh, very nice. Always good to check parentheses. Functions. Still with the existing assertions. Function that calls. Great. Interestingly, the fact that this was broken before and not caught by the rule means testing. Interesting. I'll just say this in the comment. And what was the line? In no unnecessary, I already forget. No unnecessary condition. Creates a gap in code coverage before the rule. Could you please add test coverage for that case too? This fix also fixes for. What's this change? Cool. So mostly I'm just asking for fixing the thing that the rule discovered and added test coverage for it. Now I had a to do. What happens if we remove the changes to here. What breaks? So looking at tests. Okay, one. Okay, so now it handles parentheses properly. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Nice call for the parentheses. Oh shoot, I forgot to praise the last PR. I should do that. Here you go. I like made a mention. I forget if I said it out loud, but I do want to say like praise super thorough tests, by the way. Nicely done. I did want to. I always like praising a couple times. Praise. This was very clear to read through. Nice. Thanks. Thanks for making my life easier. Praise is good. People like being praised. And honestly, if you're going to poop all over what you see as flaws for something, it's a good idea to also point out what's good. Yeah? All right. So I'm guessing the remove range there is good. Well, I know it's good, so I'm going to check the other one too. Okay, if it's a call expression, it'll need parentheses. Just curious. Curious what happens here. Yep, that fails also because parentheses are different. Cool. Good stuff. Looks like it works well. So just requesting changes on test coverage and fixing the internal complaints. By the way, this is a bug fix rather than a feature, so I've edited the PR title, which actually I'll just go ahead and do right now. This is a fix. Shows up differently in the changelog, different semantic versioning bump for a fix versus a feature. They show up differently in the changelog and have different semver version bump implications. Cool. This looks good. Waiting. Oh yeah, I wanted to post a GIF in my reviews. Let's find one. By the way, for the next one, someone should suggest something of like, what the shit is this? It's like weirdly ominous. I have so low tolerance for. I don't know. I can't bring myself to do it. Yeah, well. Anyway. We're so close. 5 down. I've gone over how long I normally want to stream for, but my next thing is at 2 o'clock my time, and it's 12:15, and I'm not hungry yet because I'm tired and woke up late. So, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to try to get through all these. See how it goes. Yeah, you're right. It is fun. All right. You've motivated me. I'm going to find a good one. What's a good search term, though? Like, what should I... I know I've used these two too much, and this one. That's too much. Drew Barrymore doing... Is that the what is Ahegao? Ahegao. Is she doing that? That's vulgar, Drew Barrymore. Oh, this is cute. The Muppet Christmas guy. There it is. Drew Barrymore has a dirty mind in the great way, by the way. She I think it's Conan O'Brien's show. She did a really funny interview or two. Was she Conan? Was she the first episode guest? Who was it? Late Night Conan O'Brien season 1. Yeah, she was on the first Conan O'Brien. By the way, I was born on the same day as Conan's show. Oh, something. That's such a good idea. Oh my god, thank you. I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. Well, for next time I'll do that. This person had like very little info. Oh, by the way, I learned recently, once the image is loaded, you can copy and paste. Thanks for that. Girl from the Muppet Christmas Carol saying wonderful happily. There we go. God dang it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew that it doesn't work sometimes, all the time. Whatever. Get over here, you. I hate how much I do this, the editing things after I've typed them. That's such... Finding something off the links. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's such a good idea. Maybe because I'm a buffoon sometimes. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Switching over to an internal cleanup from Avred. I think they're on Twitter. Yep. Working with our node version in CI. Don't think they're on either of these ones, so posting. What are you up to today, Legaz, by the way? How's your life going? And do you have any other awesome tips for PR reviews for me? All right, so it looks like code cover reports are no longer being uploaded. That's nice. So I should triage this issue. And also I'm going to post the PR in the chat. Pinned. Okay, so wait. Wait, so code cover just isn't being uploaded anymore? What? So in our CI.yaml line 17, we say that our primary node version is greater than or equal to 20.6.1. I'm going to switch over to check out main, get pull upstream main, get push, just make sure that's still the case. All right. But then in that same file later down, we check if the node version, if the matrix node version is the same, which... Wait. What's the matrix? Defining the node version. Here we go. So so what's happening is the node version is no longer the same because they're false. All right. So what they're doing, can I see this in action? So this is under CI. So if I just look at like an arbitrary recent CI run. Oh, love the procrastinating life. What do you, what's your game of choice? Mine's Binding of Isaac. And actually, one of my friends got me back into RuneScape Classic for some reason. I don't know why. I'm just not giving time for that. Wait, so... Oh, this is upload code coverage. But the report is saying that... What's 200? Run unit test with coverage. WoW Classic. Oh, so we're like enemies. You know, old school RuneScape WoW Classic. That's great. I wish GitHub let you like expand this view in some way. I want to like widen. I want to see which one is the fucking. This is so fucking GitHub. Why can't I just see the goddamn? Why are you doing? Why can't I expand all this? You know, this is so stupid. I'm gonna complain about this. Ha! Nice. Comparison of WoW and old school RuneScape. Good good little thing. But I tried logging on my old RuneScape account on the new RuneScape, and it looks like WoW. It's like, this is not what I'm here for. GitHub complaints of the day. No way. There's no way in the UI to expand the width of these displays. The width of these displays for matrixed jobs whose titles differ only a couple at the end. Good luck differentiating them. Screenshot of a CI run in GitHub Actions. The left menu shows many run unit tests, Ubuntu latest, as does an expanded, I don't know, workflow list, but there's no way to expand the titles to see the ... contents. Freaking annoying. Sometimes, you know, the software, I just hate it all. I hate everything. I hate everyone. Life is good. I was gonna copy this image. I like how Blue Sky tells you, hey, it's missing alt text. And I don't like how it's not immediately clear how to add that alt text in. If you're going to complain about something, which you should do if there's no alt text, make it a one click, you know? Why is there like a separate modal for this crap? Accessibility important. Getting it right for the user experience so people don't resent it. Also important. Where did that A come from? Yeah, there will be many complaints in my day. All right, so let's see if I can. Oh yeah, I was gonna hack it together with the with 50 px, 500 px. There we go. That's too big, but whatever, it's fine. With 400 px, nope. Is the thing with 500 px, z index 900, background dpa 0, 0, 0, 0.5. Yeah, there we go. All right, that's better. Now I can look at this crap. All right, so I wanted to. I don't even remember what I was doing anymore. I wanted to see one unit test with coverage if the node end version. So this is under. Yeah, this is completely skipped. Wait, so this is steps, checkout, install, run unit. This is inside the unit tests thing. So each of these is run unit test and there's a matrix thing. So under, let's say, I don't know, I want to get one that's not ES plugins. That one takes a while. Yeah, the unit test for parser on Ubuntu latest. Run unit test with coverage. It is skipped. Right, yeah, that's great. So the fix here, I think, should be changing the matrix so that it's 16 and whatever we're working on currently. And this is a bug. Lovely, thanks for filing. Good spot. So it is marked as PRs. Let's look at the actual changes. Can we go the other way? Changing node version to be 16 and the pinned primary node version? I'd rather not. I'd rather not unpin a version that and introduce unexpected version changes if we can avoid it. The last report uploaded in September. Great. Yeah, so what I was thinking is we could do primary node version in 1620. Instead of this, we could do like, I don't know, is that how you do it? How is that gonna work? How do you get that in there? Is it with dollar whatevers? Is that how to do it? God dang it. How do you do this in GitHub syntax? GitHub matrix include env. Unable to use n variable inside. Oh my god. According to, it's not a straightforward 16 and the primary node version. Surely there's a way to get this somewhere, like reuse a constant. GitHub workflows constants. Maybe this will work. Is this mentioned? Use the $sign here. Nope, nope, nope. Using variables. Use inputs. Outputs. Oh my god. Might not work either then. Yeah, I haven't tried it. So maybe a starts with kind of check is necessary. Yeah, so thanks for hopping on to this. I think the fix, I think I'd rather a more pin-oriented fix direction if we can make it. Cool. Since it's a small review, I have rapport with Harvard. We've talked about, excuse me. So I think I'm okay to not spend my time trying to find a GIF for this small one. Such is life. All right. Only 4 more to go. Yay. Only 4 left so far. Docs 1 around performance. Nah. From Samuel's on Twitter, I think, right? I forget. Butter toast. That's what Samuel likes. Yeah. Maybe not. Is it every day like this? They vary. Sometimes I do a lot of pull request reviews. PR reviews and issue triage is a pretty common thing. I don't know if it's a majority, but it's pretty common. Sometimes I write code. I've been falling behind on my pull request triage and issue triage stuff for typescript-eslint, so I've been doing this a lot recently, but it really varies. I think my favorite streams are when I'm like actually writing features, though, on my own repos and stuff. Smaller projects that are easier to work with. Yeah, if there's a thing you want to see me do, let me know. I can always try to find tasks for next one. So what's happening here? First of all, ambiguous title. So that's a change that we'll need. I mean, these titles are good for reviewers to understand what's going on, and they're important for the changelog. Second of all, we ask that issues generally have, or pull requests generally have a backing issue, but like docs, fixes are okay too. So what happened? Zamiel, no comments. Ooh, Lint is failing. That's nice. Unknown word autofixer. So immediately there are looks this has build failures. That will need to be addressed. From this, so it's this spell checker complaining. Looks like the C spell dictionary needs to be informed of the word autofixer. Alternately, I think we use the word fixer instead most of the time, as that's what eslint uses. So probably fixer is the better strategy. Cool, yeah, we have a spell checker. Really useful for docs. C spell. So that's the thing. Import. So what's actually this page's context? What's going on here? So it's on troubleshooting performance, which is a troubleshooting FAQs page. There we go. Troubleshooting performance troubleshooting. Yes. So ESLint plugin import is really useful in JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript code. It makes sure your imports are right, but TypeScript already does a lot of the same checks as it. So we recommend you don't use the following rules. The TypeScript provides the same checks as part of standard type checking. So let's look at the rules added. Import no unresolved. I've been there before. And import unambiguous. What does this do? Warn if a module could be mistakenly parsed as a script by a consumer leveraging unambiguous JavaScript grammar to determine correct parsing goal. What? What is unambiguous JavaScript grammar? So that's, oh boy. So this gets into ECMAScript modules. Isn't that fun? Okay, so basically what's happening here is it's saying if you're importing a thing, it should be, wait, is it about importing? Yeah, if you have a file, it should be clear whether it's a module or a script. Where a module is something that has import or export in it, at least one of either of those, and a script has neither. So these are all modules, whereas this is a script. So yeah, the rule is saying that, hey, if you write a file that actually could be a script, then that's not allowed. I don't think TypeScript actually covers this, like the rule is saying. If we go to like some random file, like, I don't know, something in util, and we make neighbor like script ts class hello greet return hi new const greeter new hello greeter dot greets whatever. Void. Oops, return string, whatever. Just lint rules. All right. Yeah, no, nothing in TypeScript prevents this. Question: how does TypeScript? I don't think TypeScript always enforces this. There is no error reported locally when I write a new script.ts file, new TS file that doesn't import or export. Tools, unused code detection, e.g. nip. Can, but that's separate. Cool. All right, so that's one. What is no unresolved? This I think TypeScript does check. It makes sure that if you import something, it actually matches something on the disk. Const value equals require get static string value. That should exist. Nope. What are these complaining about? Let's disable for the entire file. 1, 2. Let's see, group returns unknown, so we can just use these values. I'm just doing things to appease the linter so I don't get any lint complaints. Yeah, TypeScript doesn't cover this either, I think. I don't think TypeScript enforces this. I added a require nope in a new TS file and it didn't complain. We do have separate rules around no var requires though, so maybe it can be noted that this rule is only unnecessary if you ban require. Yeah, I think our rule is no var requires. Let me just make sure. Yeah, no var requires. Yeah. Okay, so they also added something. Excuse me. A note that for import extensions, it can be useful as a. I don't think it can be useful as. I think this note is necessary for this docs page. The page is intended to help people troubleshoot performance issues. Notes on using things for other day-to-day linting. Notes on using rules for other operations, especially ones that are okay to be slower, doesn't really fit in the narrative. Thanks for sending. I don't think any of these changes need to land, but maybe I'm wrong. Also, please always write an informative and unambiguous title for PRs. That helps both reviewers understand quickly what's going on and helps the change log be more informative. Cool. Yeah, I think Samuel sent uninformative PR titles before, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way, just requesting. And if I get to the point where for any contributor, if they keep doing a thing, I'm like, please do differently repeatedly, that I would remember, then I'll go and check and ask them. But I don't remember this happening too often. Anyway, cool. So that one's good to go. 3 left. I love this. I've fluctuated between like 4 viewers and 20 viewers this whole time. One always wonders what draws people in and away, pushes them away. Oh, this person has contributed a lot, and I've been meaning to reach out to them, actually, offer them sponsorship or money for the great demos and fixes and stuff. Okay. Fix eSLint plugin, no unnecessary condition. Fix false positive for type variable. What does that even mean? Let's find out. Are they on the Twitters? No. But they do have a dev blog. Okay. Back to feature work. Looking back to product work, looking at a fix for the no unnecessary condition. What's a good emoji? I don't know. Oh shoot, am I tagging someone? Oops, not sure. Anyway, what's going on? Backing issue. False positive on indexed access of a generic type. Oh, love it when there's a playground. Let's look at the playground. The unnecessary conditional, the types have no overlap on line, whatever. T extends object. So we're looking at arg T. And key is the K of T. Unexpected conditional, the types have no overlap. Yeah, this is a bug. Definitely a bug in the rule. The no unnecessary condition should be like, I don't know, if you check whether like, I don't know, if high equals 1 plus 1 or something. Like this appears to be unnatural because we know that's a number, that's a string. But this one, we're checking if this is null, but we have no idea what T is. So great. T, well, we have an idea, we just know it's an object, which is not very informative. So great, this is a bug. Accepting PRs. And then, yeah, it's the same complaint. Arg of key is being used as a conditional. Great. Nice quick bug. Hopefully the fix is quick too. All right, so I'm gonna check this one out locally. GHPR checkout 8235, get pull yarn starts. Let's just revert my changes. So no unnecessary condition. Line 274. Check node for nullish. The condition is always necessary if it involves any unknown or a naked type parameter. Naked type parameter. Did they add that common line? Ah. Type variable is different from type. What the heck is a type variable versus a type parameter? Oh boy, look at these tests. Well, the one concern I have coming in is, okay, what happens if we constrain to something that definitely, yeah, like definitely is still nullish. Like in this case, function test, this actually would still be something we want to complain about because looking at the code, oops, T is this object type and K extends foo, which is the key of T. So here we know that num, which is T of K, is definitely a number, K2K, value T. I'm going to also rename that to be a little more informative. So now we do value of foo, value.foo, key. Yeah, so this all looks good. Yep. And if we do foo number or null, wait. This should be an error. Oh, I never enabled the rule in the lint config. Whoops. No unnecessary condition error. All right. Great. So I'm gonna make an array of cases. So let's look at this. Test 1, test 2. In test 1, it's foo number, so that should be a complaint, but now it's foo number or null, and it shouldn't be a complaint. Similarly, when we look up, yep, this all looks good. So as long as we know that the foo property from the type parameter constraint is not null, we know this is unnecessary. Great. So now my main complaint here is this is a lot of things to check for in a single test case, but we normally ask that test cases are small and single purpose. In fact, I'm pretty sure I opened an issue about test label documentation. Unit tests. Tests. Yep. And we actually have a granular unit tests preference. Oh, Ovid. Testing. We generally prefer small single purpose unit tests. I think this one and the later one with 3 variables is testing 2 things. Areas that T extends objects and arg key work. Different kinds of null checking against that are key. General, different kinds specifically. I think that the fact that different kinds of nullish checking work is covered nicely in other cases. So this one can just check, can probably reduce. Exactly, yeah. It's more of an integration, a conglomerate test, yeah, down to just the one check. Just one check. What do you think? Review. I think that's basically it. One of these days I'll file an issue about avoiding the word foo, but it's everywhere, so that'll be a big cleanup. Looks great to me. Thanks for the fix. Just one note on testing, but I'm happy to merge as is. Yeah, I think the rule already violates this preference in it tests quite a lot. Yeah, like a lot of existing tests do this. Or make the cleanup myself, in that the tests for this rule already do the test a lot in one case thing. This one I have the energy. Clean. Oh yeah, let's take your advice. Let's see what, I don't know how to pronounce this, looks like. Developer with a dev blog. Oh, it's in Korean. Well, cacao. Nothing immediately comes up, so yay. These all just seem too enthusiastic for me, you know? Like, maybe it's that I'm tired. Yeah, I think I've used this one before, but yeah, I know, right? When I have rapport with coworkers, I put like in jokes and like shows we watch together. Lime yellow, wacky, inflatable arm tube thing dancing happily. Embrace the strange. Or turn and face the strange, I think is the lyric. So yeah, for this one I'll do one approval and then waiting for a response. Yep, so we can merge as is if they really hate my suggestion or whatever, but yeah, it's fine. All right. 2 left. Oh my god, I'm so close. By the way, since we're getting towards the end, and I really hope these 2 don't become huge, towards the end I will ask, are there any other questions or things y'all want to talk about, and who should I raid? So just prepping you. I will want to know if there's someone I should raid. All right, so this person didn't follow the PR template for such a small change, but let's hope they're okay. I appreciate that they noted that. Yeah. the fact that they read the guidelines at all is like more than enough to make me happy personally. Damn it, I knew I was tagging someone. Second to last, hopefully. Nice little feature ad. Oh yeah, is this person Flo Edelman? They're an existing contributor. Yay. Ooh. Oh, they're just on just on the LinkedIn. Oh well. A little feature ad for the website. Looks like. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, our version number is not an actual link. So this turns it into a link. I love this. I love this so much. Yeah. I feel like I've thought of this before. I never got around to filing it. All right, so it's href. Oh, I guess the type HTML is oh, so like there's native support for links. Wow. Ha. Great call. This is definitely a good feature ad. Bordering on bug fix. And I love that this also switches from manual HTML to a native DocuSource feature link. Yeah, so this I feel more confident in my emoji usage. I know I've used some of these before. I wish they like varied it up over time for searching. Oh, if this just had the caption beautiful on it, that would be great. When yo eyebrows on fleek. Love that. Maybe it's beautiful would be better. Danny, hello. Thanks for coming by. It's perfect. Mugatu. Saying it's beautiful. There we go. I'm a professional adult developer working in open source. Thanks. Spending 5 minutes looking through GIFs of Mugatu and He-Man sings. Will Ferrell as Mugatu in Zoolander saying, "Dear God, it's beautiful." Approved. What are you up to? How's life? Ooh, my shoulders. I just realized my posture has been bad. I'm sitting today out of pure laziness. Yeah, I'm just going to merge this. LOL. Pass and build. Life is good. Last PR, I swear to God, if someone sent it's another PR. I remind you this. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cal.games. Oh my God. I forgot about Flash. Oh. Immediate. Good stuff. Yeah. By the way, check out this Easter egg on my site. I'm typing up, down, left, right, BA on my keyboard. Boom, emoji explosion. Trigger with the heart in the footer. Love Easter eggs. All right, let's look at, ooh, infinite recursive calls. This is exciting. Unable to pin, please try again. I don't know what's up. Ooh. If you want that on your site, do I have a library for you? I'm going to rename it probably to Emoji Blast this year, but you know, whatever. Anyway, look at the freaking demo. A friend of a friend's made this website, the demo site, and oh my God, Carly just knocked it out of the park. Look at these freaking demos. Okay, I made the page have too many. Spinning. Everything Everywhere All at Once for 3 seconds. But the later demos really make me so happy. The UFO with a cow. Ridiculous. Fireworks. One of them I remember really loving somewhere around. Yeah, the rain, shooting stars. the rainbow, good stuff. Anyway, let's look at the final PR review, I hope, of the day. It's a nice little bug fest. Hopefully maybe the last one of the day. Bug fix for infinite recursion. Oop. The end lines and copy and pasting between these different social networks always annoys me. What's going on? Stack Overflow crash in 2 cases. One reported May of 2022, the other July of 2023. Both have playground links. Boop. Oh boy. Maximum call stacks size exceeded. Oh yeah, looks like these are maybe dupes almost. What are the one's no unsafe argument, the other's no unsafe argument. So these maybe are well, maybe this is a dupe. Oh, 2309. Oh, this was previously fixed. With an already visited set. Okay, so it looks like these may or may not be dupes of each other, these 2 related issues, but either way, the PR fixes them, so. Cool. Oh, you know what? I should have those playgrounds still up so that I can test the code with the preview deploy of this one. So pro tip for our playground and many others, if you copy and paste the URL, or the URI, or whatever you call the part after the domain extension, whatever, and it preserves because we keep the code and the ESLint config in the URL. Very nice, that looks good. So now I'm gonna copy the other one. This is good stuff. And go. Type tree equals number. I don't know why they specified the parser in the playground, but okay. Ooh, good question. I'm not so familiar with developing GitHub, but if they are duplicates, would the order they are pulled in then matter? Nah. In theory, if we had known ahead of time that these are actually the same cause, then it would have been nice to label them as dupes. But depending on the repo tooling, maybe something would matter. For us, we don't really. None of our tooling cares about the order. It's just, oh, there's a pull request that fixed some issues, so we'll put that pull request in the changelog. That's it. Good question, though. I'm curious, what tooling are you used to, if you don't mind me asking? So it looks like that, while you're answering, the changes here is they're making a new visited in, okay, I'm going to have to pull this locally to understand this. One final hurrah. Also, I'm getting hungry, so definitely glad this is nearing the end of the queue. Git pull, yarn start. Is unsafe. So, okay. So this is a general helper method used by multiple rules, no unsafe arguments, no unsafe assignment, and so on, to check if a type being given to a receiver is an any type or includes an any type, including like generic positions, like with type arguments. For example, no unsafe argument. Ooh, that's a more complex one. Let's look at no unsafe assignment. Does it in its check for assignments, which runs on like variable declarations and property definitions and assignments. So we get the types of the 2 things, and we check for like an immediate obvious any, if it's not being compared in a way we care about. What is contextual or basic? So if it doesn't actually do an assignment, we ignore it. Otherwise, we use this utility to check if the sender, the thing on the right side. Oh, ADO and Bitbucket. I've used ADO. I've used Bitbucket myself that I can remember. Good times. So yeah, if the sender, the thing on the right, being given to the receiver, we check this nice little helper here. Okay. So any to unknown is apparently allowed. If the receiver isn't in any type, we complain. Okay, so otherwise we're going to recurse down. So yeah, if the type, the sender type, this is the first one is sender. If that's an any, then we do very quick checks. But if it's not an any, then we have to start checking recursively down through all the parts of it. Apparently there's some to-dos from 2 years ago. Love to see it. All right. Yeah, this looks good to me. So we're saying visited is a mapping of TS types to the set of types that they visited. So for the sender, we store all the types they visited. Okay. If the type has already been visited, then we then we look at the receiver. Okay, so this is just checking for each sender type, what are all the receiver types that it looked through. This makes sense to me. Another pattern would be to like make a worker function for this. Or like you could type receiver checker sender node new map. This is another variation of the pattern that I've seen a lot. The nice thing is that for each call, you don't have to check whether the visited is in existence. So then is unsafe assignment worker. Is a little more type safe. So like there's no actual reason why someone would call is unsafe assignment with a visitor or visited. So actually I think I want to request changes on this because this optional the way they have it in the red, the visit equals new map, this allows people to eject something which they shouldn't be allowed to do. So just so I can fit this all in one line for a suggestion. Yeah. So yeah, just a small refactor. Refactor. This code works great as is, but has a couple of little paper cuts. I don't know. Each call now has to check whether visited exists. This is not really a big issue at all, not a blocker. Callers now can see this visited map, even though there is no reason for them to provide it. What do you think about making a worker function so the public signature... Oh yeah, I wouldn't export the worker, just keep it private. Non-exported worker function, so the public signature doesn't need to have the map. So the suggestion would look like that. Actually, the diff view is weird. So, look, Jimmy, thanks for the double fix. Just requesting or just suggesting changes for the one refactor. If I missed something on it, then no worries, we can ship as is. So similar, I'm going to approve and also await response. Awesome. So is that all of our PRs in my queue? I know there are probably other ones that are awaiting something, but I don't have time or energy to get through the rest of them today. So this makes me happy. So I'm done for the day. For the stream, that is. Ooh, excuse me. Anyway, last thing to do, if anyone has any questions, happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll find someone to raid. I'm also just going to quickly peek through the ones that are awaiting response. Still have a little time, energy in me. So let's go through these oldest to newest. Just make sure that like they don't erroneously have the awaiting response label. Last pinged 3 days ago. Auto-generate types last ping. Okay, but this is to Brad, who's another maintainer. So switching this to draft so it doesn't show up on my queue. This might also notify Brad. There we go. Come on. Come on, GitHub. Do your magic. Okay. This one was marked as stale. Oh yeah, they pushed into commit. Okay, great. If you ever want us to take another look, requesting. Thanks. Review through the GitHub UI will auto remove the awaiting this little automation setup. Cool. So yeah, I guess I'll review this one now. Actually, no, Brad Zacher reviews. I'll just request him. Prefer literal enum. Pinged 2 weeks ago. So we actually have docs for this in our maintenance guide. Issues, pull requests, pruning old PRs. So we wait 2 weeks after adding stale, sometimes more if we just don't get around to it. And we actually have templates for a lot of the things we say. So GitHub, replies, YAML. This is supposed to work with the Chrome extension I wrote, actually. GitHub, refined state replies. Looks like there are errors in there. Unrecognized manifest key browser specific settings. Great. I'm going to have to file an issue on myself. God dang it. That probably is why it hasn't been working when I submit it to the store. Crash in Chrome. Error in Chrome for this. This should work when loaded in a Chromium browser. And instead, we get screenshot of the Chrome extensions page failing to load the extension. The manifest JSON for browser specific settings is highlighted. Great. Well, so I'm going to enter the Twitter thread. Tangentially filing looks like my refined save replies extension is just blatantly broken on Chrome locally. Lovely. Annoying. Anyway, it's supposed to load in replies. So pruning stale PR. Just gonna take that in there. Get this comment in. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Prunes. All right, so I don't get the nice templating, so I'm going to have to do it manually. Feel free to open JBS Marcus if you time, but otherwise if not. If anyone wants to drive it forward, please, because they're adding co-author, adding a co-author attribution. I should update that template. The at one isn't actually a technical get co-author attribute properly. And it's more than 6 weeks for a while without activity. Yep. Stale. Alrighty. And oh yeah, I should I'm not gonna post these on the thread on Twitter. There's no need to post around that. Okay. So they commented they're going to do things. So for this one, I can remove this stale label. Yay. Yeah, no, I'm not going to keep going through these because I don't want to. Well, this was fun. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Just to recap, my name's Josh. I'm a full-time open source maintainer in the TypeScript JavaScript ecosystem. I work on tools such as typescript-eslint that let you write TypeScript and JavaScript code better. I actually recently joined the eslint team as a committer, so I'm pleased about that. And let's go find someone to raid. Oh, Rizal. I'll hang out a bit for this. Love Rizal. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me if there's anything you want to talk about, and catch my streams Tuesdays and Thursdays most weeks. This has been fun. Bye, y'all.